Okay, it's time for us to unbox this guy. It came in a few days ago, and I've been contemplating what exactly I wanted to do with this. There's a few things that I have questions about. And before I take anything in my van, I like to try it out first. So I'm actually going to be placing this in my tiny home for the time being, and if it works out over the next little bit of time, then guess what? I will then possibly put this in the van. We're gonna find out though. A lot of you have asked me about the Trelino toilet previous and if I would consider one, and I'd always thought it was a great idea because it's a composting toilet. However, there were a few things that I had question marks about. Number one, compost. Is it gonna work? I don't know. Is it something that's doable? Yeah. Is it something I already am doing here at my base camp? But is it gonna be something that's achievable in 35 square feet? I don't know. Number two, literally number two, is this going to work well where it doesn't leave an odor in my van? Again, I don't know. So testing it out is going to be super important for figuring that out. And currently I have a toilet system that I'm using that works out really well with mitigating smells. However, it isn't the most substantial. So I'm very intrigued, and I definitely am thinking this could be great. And I know it will be great in my tiny home where I have a bit more space. So now we're going to find out what's in the box and how much of my blueprint this would take. Now, the way that I'm gonna do this is go ahead and set it up here at base camp, and again, use it whenever I'm at the house because I think that it is wonderful for a tiny home like I have here. However, I'm gonna kind of figure out the size of it, and then I'm gonna move things around in my van as I'm traveling and see if there is a logical place that it could go in if I should choose to take it on the road. So that's how I'm gonna start off this process. So into the Trelino box we go. The weirder thing about it that I never really put into consideration is that living in my tiny space was going to be so similar to living in my van space. There's so many things that carry over, everything from using the toilet without plumbing to doing normal things with less footage. And my tiny home is not the smallest of tiny homes, but it's also much tinier than a regular home for most people. So it takes creativity to figure out the different steps to do stuff, because it's not just like, hey, I have all of this room for storage. So it has to be intentional space that I'm using. And so whenever we were working on the restroom, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, so if I would eventually like my home to be off grid, what would it mean? And so we looked at the different things that we would need. And one of them was figuring out a toilet option that didn't require power, because originally we were going to do an incinerating toilet here. And then the other part of it was that I needed something that would be easier to use and would not require as much water, because even though I have a well, some days whenever the power goes out, the well does not work. So I wanted something I could use. And during the recent cold snap that we had here in Texas, that exact thing happened. I couldn't use the toilet because we didn't have water. And so that made it really difficult. So a composting option is one that I am very excited about. So without further ado, I think the box is gonna open. Maybe not, I don't know. Really glad I don't have to use this because the bathroom, you know? I'm glad that this isn't one of those like everything or nothing moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta open it because I gotta go. No, it's not, it's just a test. So now that I've cut it, it seems to want to work with me. Of course, this table is super tall, so I'm just gonna pull out all the extra packaging, then probably set this box realistically on the floor because, well, yeah, that's gonna be too hard. First impressions though, it was very well packaged. It had some bubble wrap on top. This is the top part of it, which ultimately, if I did put this in my van, might be able to be a seat. We're gonna find out. I don't wanna crack it though, because I'm not a small person. Now that I've gotten it to this stage, I should be able to put my fingers on the side and, oh, this is so lightweight. This is super lightweight. Okay, I'm not upset about this. This is a very manageable like feeling. In fact, this is probably lighter than my refrigerator in my van. Then there's the little lid, and then I think it has a slow close. It does. Okay, that's really nice. Doesn't make a sound. It doesn't make me have the most confidence in sitting on the lid. Maybe the wooden one would, but the top on this one, I don't know. I'm not sure. it kind of buckles in the middle if you push down. So I feel like under the weight of me, that wouldn't be great. So I wouldn't be able to use this as like a seat for someone else. If they came into the van with like a cover on it, I probably wouldn't feel safe with that. But overall, not bad. Great size. It has a nice, decent sized seat on here that's a little wider than my pop-up toilet. So from the base going in, it has the separator inside. So whenever you use the restroom, the urine goes in here and the other goes in here. And then this all, I do believe, comes up. It does, okay. And then there's the little bucket system that they have. So the front one, again, holds the urine. The back one holds the other. And you can use regular composting materials with this. In my current toilet system that I have in my van, I have a bag system. That's fine, not bad at all. This would be a little bit different. This would actually use a composting material, which I've actually been using a little bit of already at the house. I use a cocoa core. And so cocoa core just comes in these little blocks. You wet them down, you kind of let them sit, they swell up, and then you just scoop 1 to 2 scoops on top after you've used the restroom if there's already stuff down there, or you scoop 1 on the bottom and then a couple on the top after you've gone. Again, it's kind of a weird thing to talk about toilets. It always will be for me. Normally I would not talk about toilets with you guys, but I'm just fascinated by this one because I think that as we move toward a lot of different goals within my tiny home as well as my van, refashioning and reimagining is important. So inside here, there was actually a little book, and it looks like there's also some bags in here. So I would put one of these on the back area where you go to the restroom, and these are recyclable bags made out of recyclable materials from sustainable people. That's pretty cool. So there's 10 pieces in here, and they're 18 liters, 52 inches by 61 inches, so that should more than cover that area in there. These bags do have handles, so when you pull them out, you can tie them up and you can dispose of them properly. Okay, full disclosure as we jump into the book, Trelino has some very choice branding for their toilets. You can see a few of the different models that they have here. Inside the book, there's some more information that we're going to expand on, however, like for example, how this works. It's going to tell you about the bags and then also where the urine and the solids go and how you're supposed to scoop your composting materials into it. So it does suggest here placing 1 cup into the bag before you go and 2 after. So that is really nice to know. And then here it also tells you about all the pieces that are included. And there is a QR code, which I personally prefer to have QR codes available because it does help me to find the product details online if I have any more questions. Sometimes they have additional information there. Now in the book, there's also a few other things like the sizing. And again, because the branding is very specific, I choose not to use certain words on my channel. And unfortunately, some of those words are in their marketing materials. So I'm just going to read these to you instead of showing them to you in the book because I respect that my place is a family-friendly place, and they referred to the number 2s by a not so nice word, which normally I wouldn't care about because it wouldn't be a deal breaker because I could cover it up, but it's kind of in the middle of one of the pages. So if you are not happy with certain kinds of words, the box has it on there too. I'm sorry, it just kind of is what it is. I have no bearing in that. So let's talk about the specs. They actually have 3 models. They have a small, medium, and large. This is the large one. All of them have a weight capacity of 330 pounds. And I thought that that was a really substantial amount because that is well over what I even weigh. And so curvy queens like myself can fit, but if you are a plus size body that is even larger, you're going to be fine. Now for the purpose of this, I'll just cover up the no shame word and we'll talk about it a little bit more. Right here we have the Origin and the Evo, the specs for each. The Origin is the other model that we do not have. The Evo is the one that we have on hand. The large one is 10.8 pounds, which explains why it was oh so light. And it has a urine and solids tank that both have a capacity of 2.6 gallons. Smaller models might work better for smaller vans. I'm not sure. So again, testing this out, if I like it, I might even look into a smaller model for the van if this one appears too big in the footprint, or if I can't use it as a secondary seat. But I thought that that was really substantial because 2.6 gallons of solids and also liquids is a considerable amount of using the restroom. And so you wouldn't have to empty this quite as frequently as some of the other toilets, including my chemical toilet, which I first started out with. The book also has some really interesting things in here that are questions that are typically asked, including, can you dispose of hygiene products? Also, how do you find the optimum seating position? Can you use my separating toilet even if you have, you know, not so nice things happening with your guts? Again, toilet talk is really weird and really gross and really grimy. And so if you guys hadn't asked me about this, I probably wouldn't be talking about it at all, because it's not my preference to talk about what goes on in my restroom, if you know what I mean. Toilet videos freak me out, but I do see the value in it, so I'm giving you this information, so I hope it can help. Getting back to the toilet itself, this is made in Germany, and the shipping on it is super, super rapid. So once you order one of these, you have it within a week and a half to 2 weeks max, and that's on a slow side. Obviously, I have a little craziness going on from the packaging and everything, but overall, this is not a bad size. Again, not a small body here, so I want to make sure that anything that I'm using is going to support me. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this on the ground, and then because I have not departed from my base camp yet, Riley is actually here with me, so I'm going to have her sit on this so I can show you kind of what it kind of looks like and if she feels supported. And then I'm going to sit on it and I'm going to tell you if I feel supported, because we have different sized bodies and I want to make sure that you guys know kind of what these are. And I wanted to give you feedback that was meaningful from not just myself, but someone else. And as always, never purchase anything that you see on my channel unless it's something that you've already been looking into and you are interested in. I think that consumerism is fine, but at the same time, don't coax yourself into another bill. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. And ultimately, we need to live within our means of what we have, so never feel pressured from me. Okay, Riley.
Yeah.
I need you to sit on the toilet. It's a really weird request, but I want to make sure that it feels stable for you.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Yeah. I've been eyeballing this toilet for a while. I've known about this, and when I found out you got a deal for this, I was like, yes!
What do you think about it for my tiny home?
I think it's perfect for your tiny home.
It's very decently sized.
Yeah.
It's not anything too crazy.
No, and it's cute.
Oh, it has the soft close. You don't even have to close it all the way. It'll close on its own. Yeah. Watch that. Ooh, we like that.
Yeah.
No more slamming toilet seats.
And it's so lightweight.
So lightweight. So it has two different sections there, so you can lift up the lid, or whenever it closes, you can actually lift up this whole gray piece to get to the bottom part. And in doing so, you can change out the bottle and you can clean the little bucket, and then it comes out. It has a little handle. So you can take it out, and whenever you take it out, you can then remove the bag.
Oh, and there's a lid for that.
Yes, it has a lid for it, and then also it has a cap for this guy. If you're going down the road, for example, and you don't want this open, you can close it off. No spills. That's pretty awesome. So I'm going to put this back in here for now and get you to take a seat so you can tell me what you think.
Guess we'll sit on this and try it out.
In the kitchen. Awkward. Okay, what are your thoughts?
Well, obviously it doesn't feel as comfortable as like a normal toilet seat, but it's quite manageable.
Okay.
And I'd like to think that it's the perfect proportion. And I feel very sturdy on it. Ooh, obviously on this, on the floor it slips and slides, but I don't feel like it's gonna buckle under the pressure of my weight that I will not share.
No need to share. But since this is Riley sitting on it, she said the thing about the floor. I agree that this floor is just really slippery. So what I'm going to do with this after I put it in my bathroom is I'll actually put a rug of some kind under it that's anti-slip. So it'll hold the front lip in place, and then it'll be fine, I think. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Now it's my turn. I am a more curvy body. I weigh more than Riley. Again, we're not going to disclose that. And it shouldn't bother any of you how much I weigh, so just, okay? Okay. But I'm going to sit on this thing and see what I think. I have been kind of eyeballing it. I've sized it up. I think we'll be okay. Okay, curvy body test now. Okay? So obviously, I have more hip region right here. But at the same time, at the end of the day, we all use the restroom the same. So let's try it out. So again, she said it was slippery, so I'm going to go down slowly. I have taken all of the pressure off my legs. I'm completely relying on the toilet right now, which is kind of terrifying to do because you don't know. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's moving. I don't. I feel like it's a sturdy seat. I don't feel like when I'm moving like this or anything, rocking ever so slightly, that there's like any areas that it's kind of bending or anything. I kind of like this so far. Again, I'm gonna have to test it out a few times to make sure that it's a good sturdy feeling whenever you're actually using it, not in clothes. But that's not happening here on the channel, obviously. But yeah, overall, I think that it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm kind of excited about this, and so now is the time whenever I put it actually in my bathroom. And I'll again talk to you guys more about that on the Tiny Texas Living channel sometime in the future after it's been used quite a bit. It's weird to talk about toilets. Normally wouldn't make this a habit. You guys have asked about this thing. I wanted to give you honest feedback. From the unboxing portion of this, I feel as though this is very user-friendly. It has a separator in it, which makes it where you don't have everything muddled together to make weird smells. Using the Coco Core, which is my personal preference, you might have a different one. I think this is going to work out really well. The bucket size is good. The placement of the two individual holes, also good. And the sturdiness, that was the thing I think that surprised me the most, because again, I'm not a little chick. I'm a curvy queen. So normally things like this kind of freak me out a little bit. But now that I've tested it out, I've showed it to you guys. I hope that if this is something you're looking into, it answered a few of the questions on a plus size body, plus a regular size body. And if you now have any additional questions, send them to me in the comments below, and I will try to address them whenever I talk about this again on the Tiny channel sometime in the near future. I'm excited. I'm so excited because solving issues like this geek me out, especially if it's something that I can use both in my tiny space on the road and in my tiny space at home. Can you imagine being able to take your toilet with you? That would be so cool. Then you could have that comfort of the seat that you're familiar with everywhere. Because after all, don't they call it a throne? Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Thank you to Trelino for sending me this to show you guys. I will continue reviewing it in the future, and if you're interested in which model this is, it is in fact the EVO model. So there's a couple colors that you can get, lots of fun things. I'm gonna leave a link to Trelino in the comments below somewhere. It might be in the description, it might be in the comments. Check it out. Let me know what your questions are, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.